This is the Coach's Wife Life podcast. I'm Kristen Eargle, your host, a former TV sports reporter and fellow college football coach's wife. I'll go one-on-one with the strong women who are the backbone of college athletics and athletics of all levels. And now, Coach's Wife Life.
This podcast is brought to you by Ruler of Hope. Ruler of Hope is a nonprofit that supports medically fragile children. If you'd like to make a tax-deductible donation, you can use Venmo at Ruler-Hope or online at rulerofhope.org.
It's my honor to bring Natalie Kalibat Witten on the podcast. Natalie is the wife of Rich Witten, head baseball coach at FIU. Natalie, thank you so much for being a part of us today.
Kristen, I'm so happy to be here, and thank you for doing this podcast because it's awesome to connect us coaches' wives. So thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I've been excited since the day that you guys were announced as head baseball coach and wife here at FIU. As everyone knows, my husband's coaching football here, so we're both at the same school. So you have an incredible career that we want to get into hear about, but we kind of talk about the husbands a little bit as the Coach's Wife Live podcast. So I'm going to talk to you first and ask a question about your husband. He is the new head baseball coach, and he came to us from VCU, leading back-to-back Atlanta 10 championships in 21 and 2022, A10 regular season champions in 19 and 21. From your perspective, what makes him successful?
Kristen, that's such a hard question. I mean, I don't even know where to start with Rich. I think, my gosh, it has been so fun to watch him and the success that VCU has had these past few years. It's pretty incredible to watch Rich work. I think his work ethic is unmatched. The guy does not like to lose, I'll tell you that. So he'll do everything to be as successful as he can. And I think recruiting is certainly a passion of Rich's, and he's really, really good at handpicking those players and just being a player's coach is what I call Rich. You know, the guys love playing for Rich, you know, young guy, tons of energy. And I actually told him this last night, I promise. I said, Rich, everything you do in your life, you give 110%. He got married in December. We found out we were expecting, and he became a head coach all in the matter of months in a year. And somehow he's able to manage it all and give 110% to everything. And I certainly love and value everything about him because he certainly puts us first.
Absolutely incredible. So congratulations on the way. By the time this airs, you probably have a precious little baby in your arms. So you have to share pictures with us. There you go. Now, your career has been incredible. I love reading about it. I'm going to just ask you about it. So you've worked as a diving analyst. You've done women's basketball, softball, lacrosse, play-by-play on ESPN+, an incredible career swimming, U.S. Olympic trials. I mean, there's so much to unpack here. So first of all, where did you grow up? And then how did you break into sports TV broadcasting?
Yeah, pretty crazy background. Growing up in Princeton, New Jersey, I was a diver, a swimmer and a diver. I grew up swimming and then transitioned in diving around 11, 12 years old, and went to school all the way on the West Coast at USC in Los Angeles, which is the media capital of the world. So I jumped right into sports broadcasting while balancing being a student athlete. Somehow I was able to do both, running from practice to class to Annenberg TV News to anchor, and just spreading myself so thin, but doing everything I could to get as much experience in college with TV and with anchoring and broadcasting, and then jumped right into my career. Started at a small market in West Virginia, where I was a weekend sports anchor, and then moved to Richmond, Virginia, and was a sports director at WRIC TV, and then doing a lot of the ESPN digital broadcasts since then. So pretty crazy path, just from East Coast to West Coast, then in between, and now we're in South Florida. So you never know where life will take you, right?
Wow, incredible. And you skipped over the part, which is U.S. Olympic trials and an incredible swimming, diving career. Talk to me about that. How does it shape you now in terms of when you're covering things? I guess you're looking through that student athlete experience.
Yeah, Kristen, I skipped over that. Thank you for reminding me. I competed in the 2012 Olympic trials. I was a senior in high school, so I think it competing on that stage at that age really prepared me before competing in the Pac-12 at USC, those 4 years on the swimming and diving team. So I think just growing up as an athlete, just it shaped me tremendously with discipline, maturity, just my work ethic, never stop fighting, never stop battling and competing. And I think it's certainly something that my husband and I, Rich, can relate to on so many levels.
When did you know you wanted to be a sports reporter?
Right when I got to USC. It was hard not to. I took all these sports broadcasting classes right away and would sit in the front row and I loved it. I thought it was so exciting. Did a bunch of internships out there with local stations, with an ESPN online affiliate on campus, and then through the Annenberg TV News. So I just, from the day I got there, I just fell in love with the industry. And I think it's hard not to. It was just so exciting.
Wow. Now, did you ever see yourself as a coach's wife?
So funny. Rich and I talk about this all the time. Just before I met him, I was so just career focused. I don't even know if I thought of, anything beyond just my sports broadcasting career. So just when I met him, everything changed. You fall in love with someone, and we met coincidentally on the baseball field, which is funny, when I was doing my job and he was doing his job. So a very romantic story, right?
Well, we must hear. Okay, give details. How did it go down?
It's so funny. I'm glad you're asking me, because he has a totally different way of telling the story, but mine is the truth. Let's be honest. Right? So I was covering a media day for the team, and it's so funny because you think, the day you meet the special person, you look perfect, not a hair out of place. No, it was freezing. It was raining. I had a hat on. I had a raincoat on. I can still remember what I looked like. And he saw me from across the field, and was kind of asking around, who is she? What's her situation? What's going on? And I made him wait a few months before we went on our first date. But we went on our first date, and he's like, please let me take you somewhere. Let's, have the best time. And it just hit it off from there. But basically everything since meeting Rich has been incredibly special, including how he proposed to me. Everything he does is 110%. I'm telling you, it's incredible.
Okay, so how did he propose? We have to know that.
I know, now I open that can of worms.
I know. Are you comfortable sharing that?
December before the world shut down. So that was December 2019, right? Mm-hmm. Right? 2019? Right, yeah, 2020, that's when COVID hit.
Right.
So he planned this trip to go to London and Paris. And my family was like, oh, Rich might ask you a question, or, be prepared if something comes up. My family's really bad at keeping secrets, let me tell you. Because I was, before you go on a trip, you're like, oh, maybe I'll get my nails done or something. Rich is like, you have to get your nails done for this one. But no, he took me to London and to Paris, and on the steps of the St. Paul's Cathedral, asked me to marry him. And it was so incredibly special. But what he did to plan the whole trip, I mean, there was never a dull moment. He always had plans. He's a planner. He likes a routine. So, and I'm sure your husband's the same way, right? These coaches, they want everything on a schedule, by the book. So it was an incredibly special trip, and I'll never forget it.
Wow, absolutely incredible. And you got married last December, so a big wedding, I would imagine.
Yes, it was in my hometown of Princeton, New Jersey, and it was at St. Paul's Catholic Church, which is a coincidence, the St. Paul's Cathedral in London, and then St. Paul's in my hometown where I grew up going to church, and then the Jasna Polana. It's a TPC golf course, so it was really fun.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
And here you are about to have your first child. How exciting. Do we know yet, boy or girl? Are we waiting to find out?
No, we have known. It's a boy, yes, and he'll be named after his father. So Rich is a junior. His name is James Richard Witten. He goes by Rich. So this little boy will be a third. So we're really excited.
You're the first wife on the podcast to be interviewed on their due date. Can I say that? Is that okay to share?
Absolutely. I am so open about this because this little boy is really comfortable and cozy in there. So I'm ready for him to come out, but he's not ready.
I'm impressed. She's agreed to this on her due date. I love it. Okay, so not every day is just a walk in the park. And every time on this podcast, I ask the same question. It ends up being my favorite question because we do have tough days as a coach's wife or in general. And so what would you say is the toughest adversity you both have faced? And what did you rely on to get through those moments?
Kristen, I know you know this is true. When you're married to a coach, you're married to the game. Let's be honest, right? You better love football or you better love baseball because you're married to it. And, honestly, I look at my life and I don't think I'd want it any other way. But there, like you said, there's a lot of adversity. Sometimes games don't go their way or series don't go their way, or shoot, a recruit goes somewhere else and they really wanted him, anything, the list goes on. I think Rich and I have a nice balance in our faith together. We pray a lot together. We go to church together when he can, because Sundays are on weekends, and we know these guys work 7 days a week all the time. But yeah, Rich and I have a strong faith. And I think one thing Rich and I do really well is sometimes we leave the game at the field. I'll ask him how his day went, or we'll talk about the game a little bit, and then we just watch a movie or just totally do something different. Take the dog for a walk, or now that we're in South Florida, maybe just, walk to the beach and back or something at night. So trying to leave the game on the field and just move on to the next day, I think is the biggest thing. And that's something I've known from just being an athlete myself. Some days don't go your way or some competitions don't go your way. So just move on, leave it at the pool, and tomorrow's a new day.
Did it change you at all, or did it, you think, I don't know, just impact your perspective as a coach's wife, growing up as a very competitive athlete that played on the Division I level, that swam on that level, covering the sport? Were there any surprises at all, or do you think it was pretty much you knew everything going in?
So funny. I feel like so much in my life has prepared me for this, just in so many ways, professionally, personally. Competing at that level and just being fully immersed in sports always 24/7 my entire life. Learned how to swim before I could even walk. So I think all of that has prepared me to be in a position to be married to someone like Rich and be able to support him and do the right things, or at least I hope I do the right things, right? We hope we do the best things. So.
Okay, so this is year one of being a coach's wife, right? This is your first year.
Yeah.
So what's one thing you've tried to make a priority in your life this year, navigating the wife balance of everything else you've got on your plate?
Yeah. Oh, gosh, so many things have been new, just being married and having a baby and him becoming a head coach. I think, oh my gosh, what do I prioritize? I think just trying to balance everything and just be calm. I think the biggest thing that we can do is, be a solid rock to them, right? So their ship may be, going up and down in waves, and it may be a windy day at sea. But I think if we can stay grounded and stay, solid as a rock, I think is so important for them and what we can do to help them and support them off the field.
Now, something you're experiencing right now is that you've moved during your pregnancy. With a lot of coaches' wives, this happens to them. I think I moved during each of one of my pregnancies. So is there anything that you've done that any advice you could pass along? It's 2022. My kids are like 6 years old. Anything now, plus they're older than that as well, but that you think, hey, this was helpful since I moved during this, as far as changing physicians and things like that, the decision to go ahead and get here in Florida versus having the baby back with your home physician. I mean, I'm sure you thought about all of those things.
Yeah, I think at first it was really overwhelming. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I can't believe it. I was late in my pregnancy too. It wasn't even, early on. I was showing and wasn't really able to fly at that point and everything. So driving here, getting here and everything. I have to say I had so much support from so many other women. And I told myself, I'm not the first person to do this. So many women find out they're expecting and then, get a new job or move or have to, fly across the country. But I had a lot of help from, friends, from family members, and even support from FIU. When I went to his press conference, I was just blown away by, the athletic director's wife, Pam Carr, and even some of the donors were willing to help me find a hospital and a doctor, and just had those connections. So it was so incredible. And it was a really smooth transition for me to find a doctor here. And I'm so happy. I couldn't imagine going to another doctor and delivering at a different hospital. I just feel very blessed.
Yes, you're right. We are very blessed to work for Scott and Pam Carr. They're top notch. You'll find none better. So this is more of a football related question, but you are a backbone to a head baseball coach in FBS. And so, obviously he's had success before you met him, but hey, the big break happened after you got married, right? So is there anything that you felt like that you've contributed a little bit to his success, maybe on or off the field? What do you bring to the table that you think maybe is helping a little bit? And it's okay to brag on yourself, because I think all those wives come here to be like, hey, I want to learn something. Take something from someone else.
We have to give ourselves some credit, right? I mean, it's not a coincidence that these things happen at certain times, right, Kristen?
Right. Absolutely.
We got to give ourselves some credit. It's Rich. He does such an amazing job with everything he does. It's fun to watch him. I joke with him that he's my coach. He coaches me with everything in life, and he just, it's really incredible just being by his side and learning from him. Like I said, I think just being calm and just being as positive as I can. They have so much stress with their job every day. They work 7 days a week. They're traveling. They're gone a lot of the time. So I think the best thing that, I can bring to the table is just being that support system, being an ear if he wants to talk to me about it, or just changing the subject, doing something totally different and spontaneous to get his mind off of the game of baseball. So.
And the baseball season is so long. It's longer than football.
It is a long one.
Yeah,
yes, it's a long one.
Do you have a coach's wife mentor yet?
That's such a great question. I developed such a wonderful relationship with the VCU baseball head coach's wife. Her name was Jen. And oh my gosh, I would have the best time with her. We would sit together at the games. She had 3 kids. We would just have the best time. She was wonderful. We keep in very close touch. She's someone that I seriously love dearly as a family member, almost as a sister. So she has definitely kind of shown me the way, given me some advice, some really good advice that I definitely take with me. So, and now I can have you as one. So I'm very excited about that.
Well, I appreciate that. Now let's talk about, do you have any wives on the staff? Because I haven't looked at the breakdown yet in terms of, or is anyone married or anything like that?
So none of the coaches are married, but they all have wonderful significant others. Okay. And one of the first things that Rich did when we got down here, we took everyone out and spent a day at the beach. It was so nice. And I got to know everyone. And there's just such a great group of women. They've all texted me today, just, hey, thinking of you on your due date, praying, and can't wait to meet the little guy. So it's, even though we just got here, it feels like family. So we feel very lucky.
I know right now you just moved here, you're pregnant. So there's probably a lot of things that you're excited to be able to maybe implement next year as the spring rolls around and all of that. Is there some things that you've seen maybe at other universities or experienced yourself as a student athlete that you're excited about doing for Rich's players?
That is such a good question. I feel like the things you can do are endless, right, Kristen? It's like there's so many really cool ideas and things that you can do for the team and the players. I mean, I want to do something for the baseball ladies, the significant others of the coaches for sure. But do you mean in regards to like an event?
Like dinners or fun events, things like that you want to be a part of?
Yeah, I've kind of talked to Rich a little bit about this. I think once he and I get a little more situated, definitely doing stuff like dinners. And I think it was really cool at the Marlins game. They had FIU night, maybe things like that, going to, like the major league game with the team or things like that to kind of build the team bonding is so important. So, but no, I would love to host all the players if they can fit, right? Because there's so many.
That's right.
Or do something.
Yeah, definitely. Now, obviously you were dating and married and he's been on the road and things like that. How do you, and your career is busy. I mean, you're traveling a ton leading up to this point, but talk to me about how you guys stay connected during those long seasons.
Yeah, I think, gosh, we're so lucky with technology nowadays, right? We have our cell phones, you can FaceTime, phone calls, checking in. A lot of times before and when Rich comes back from, a series or a set, I'll do a little something for him, like, I don't know, bake a cake or do little fun things just to congratulate him, do things like that, spend time together. But I think, yeah, both of our jobs involve a lot of long hours, a lot of late nights, and a lot of travel. So I think just staying connected, calling, texting when we can. I mean, it's hard. These guys are always, on the go. They're always on the phone too, which is another thing people don't realize. Like the job never stops. They come home and they have phone calls. So it's just this balance that you have to find, especially when we're away, getting each other at the right times.
Definitely. Now, when you do have downtime, what's your thing? What do you enjoy doing?
Together or
just by yourself? Yeah.
Oh, by myself.
You still go swim? Do you get in the pool?
I am always at the pool. I actually, even though I'm on my due date, I tiptoed from the pool.
Are you serious? You got in the pool today?
Yes, I have really enjoyed the pool during my pregnancy. It's been wonderful to not only cool off in South Florida, but just to float and relax and forget that you have this huge and enormous amount of weight that you have on you. But no, I really enjoy, we have an Australian Shepherd. He's about 60 pounds and I love taking him on walks. And I used to run with him, but I did not run through my pregnancy. So just a lot of long walks with him. I really enjoy going to church. Definitely a woman of faith. So just praying a lot and staying true to who I am. And I love spending time with family. So Rich's sister and his mom are here actually this week. So it is wonderful. And it's so nice because the sister is a doctor. So I feel like if something happens, she could technically deliver this baby, no problem. So
perfect.
Lucky to have a doctor as a sister-in-law. So
that is a great setup for sure. What would you say is the most rewarding aspect to you about being a coach's wife?
Oh my goodness. Just seeing them succeed. I think seeing all the hard work behind the scenes, what they do, what most people don't see that they do. And then just seeing it come to life. Whether that means they win a game or whether that means their players are just developing and doing really well, or their players are really happy. Wins and losses aside, I think the biggest thing about what they do is just the development and getting these guys ready to succeed at all levels. And it's just really fun to see it all come together.
A lot of the viewers and listeners for several years are just a big support system for each other and just cheer each other on. So for those of us who might not get the opportunity to be a head baseball coach's wife at FIU, I want you to describe the day or the days leading up to it when you get the call to come to FIU, what that's like, the emotions, and then that press conference. To describe that for us.
Oh gosh, that was such an exciting time, but it was also a little nerve-wracking, right? When you're interviewing for jobs, you never know if it's going to work out. But when Rich had his interviews and a lot of phone calls with Scott Carr, and he's like, man, I really love this. It feels like it'd be a great fit. And, I just was extremely positive with him and supportive. And he asked me when he got the call, for the job, how do you feel about moving to South Florida? And I was like, is that even a question? Of course, I'm there. I'm super pumped. So It was a really exciting time. Rich did so much to prepare for it. And I actually I was there for the interview and the press conference, and it was awesome. It was so cool to see him introduced as a head coach, and he did such a great job. I was so proud of him to just get up on that stage. And he was so natural. I told him, like, you were made to do this. You were made to be a head coach, and I couldn't be more proud of him.
You've had so many years in front of the camera. Did you give him any tips for his press conference?
Ooh, I got to give myself credit for that. Of course I did. You know, he's done a lot of interviews and stuff in the past and before, but he's such a natural. He's such a good speaker. I mean, when he spoke at our wedding, it was incredible. Just hearing him speak all the time. He's so good. But I don't know, Rich, like, he had a plan with the FIU job. It seemed like it really just flowed and was meant to be. I didn't have to give him too many tips, but he knocked it out of the park.
Love it. Okay, rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Uh-oh.
Here we go. All right. What's the last book you have read?
I have to say, What to Expect While You're Expecting, because I'm expecting. So that I've been looking through that one.
Coach surprises you, walks in the door with concert tickets. What would be printed on that ticket?
Ooh, so funny. We were supposed to go to an OAR concert this summer. Didn't happen because it was in Virginia Beach. So Rich and I love the band OAR. So that would have to be the concert we would go to.
If you could have dinner with someone other than a family member, current or from history, who would that be?
Ooh. Oh my gosh.
That's a really hard question.
Yeah. Dinner with anyone? Oh my gosh. I have to say, like, Erin Andrews. I think that would be kind of fun. Kind of pick her brain and chat with her, get to meet her. She's someone I've not crossed paths with on a sideline or a football field.
That would be awesome. Okay, you get a night alone. What show would you binge watch?
Ooh. You know what's funny, Kristen? We're on TV. We do this for a living, and I don't watch a ton of TV. But honestly, what is it? The House of Dragons? Okay. Is that the one that's out? I feel like I've wanted to see that one. But yeah, so maybe I'll
you'll check that out. Yeah. You have some time today waiting for this baby to come.
Yeah, I'll pop it on. Exactly.
Okay. What is your go-to meal to cook?
Ooh. Rich and I love balsamic chicken with this like veggie pasta. So
you're helping people.
Yes, very
healthy people. Okay,
but I like my desserts. So
okay, all right. What's your favorite dessert? Okay,
my favorite dessert. Oh my gosh, I love ice cream. I would have to say like cookies and cream ice cream, but make it a sundae, so like a brownie and like hot fudge and like all that good stuff.
You're my girl. We're going to get along really well together. Okay, what sport can you beat Coach Witten in?
Could I beat him in? Well, swimming and diving, a no-brainer. He's probably a faster runner than me. I would say anything with like flexibility. I mean, obviously, he takes me to the cages once in a while. I'm a weird coach's wife. I like to hit. I like to be active. I wish I could play baseball. But yeah, I definitely can't hit as good as him. And I will say that. But I think if it's in the pool, I'm going to win.
Okay, I feel like we need to set this up and see if he can. I don't think he can come close, Natalie. I think you got it. If Coach Witten weren't a baseball coach, what would he be?
Oh my gosh, I can't see him not on a baseball field. But I do know with just Rich in general, he would be successful at anything he did. But it would be really hard to see him doing anything rather than playing or coaching baseball. So, Kristen, you stumped me there.
What's one thing non-tech you can't live without?
Something non-tech. Or you mean like in technology?
No, you can't say what's one thing you can't live without, and it can't be your phone. You can't say your phone. You can't say your computer, internet. Non-technical. Non-technology is what I'm trying to say. What's something you can't live without?
Man, I would say, oh, that's hard. One thing I can't live without. Honestly, I would probably say like church. I go to church a lot and I pray a lot. So I don't know if I could live without it.
Where have you been all my life? Oh my goodness, this is exciting. Okay, last question. If you had a superpower, what would that be?
I feel like to be invisible would be kind of cool because you could be places and like people can't see you there. I don't know.
I'll take it. Thank you.
Like the Harry Potter, like the invisible cloak, like pop that on and just, that would be kind of neat.
That would, especially like if you're in a job interview and you leave, put the cloak on, see how it went.
Oh yeah, you could hear what they're saying. That would be kind of neat.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast. I appreciate it. People can follow your Instagram, Twitter, all of that. What's your handle?
My handles, I think Instagram is at Natalie Kalibat _TV. Twitter is at Natalie Kalibat Witten. Facebook at Natalie Kalibat. I'm like changing my handles with my name change and everything. So that's where they can find me. And thank you so much, Kristen, for having me. This was so much fun.
This podcast is brought to you by Ruler of Hope. Ruler of Hope is a nonprofit that supports medically fragile children. If you'd like to make a tax-deductible donation, you can use Venmo at Ruler-Hope or online at rulerofhope.org.
For a replay of this episode or previous episodes, visit coacheswifelife.org and follow us on social media at Coaches Wife Life.